Yo, what's good, everybody? It's Jay with Skywalker Investing. I run a Slack where there's multiple channels. And one of my favorite channels is sports betting. I'm gonna go through uh, about three parlays I had on this weekend. I made about like over 350, almost $400 between these parlays. And if you stay tuned, I'll share with y'all a parlay I'm probably gonna run on tonight on one of these games. One thing I always say is a parlay does not turn uh good bet into a bad bet. You'll see a lot of seasoned um sports bettors say, "Oh well, stay away from parlays. They're sucker bets," and they'll talk about the hold and they'll talk about probability. There's some truth to some of that, but just like anything in life, there's a gray area, right? So, the goal with parlays is to basically blow up your betting volume, right? The way I look at it is consistently like having and my background is in day trading, right? So, I think about concepts like leverage. It's almost like a concept like leverage. You're betting in an amount that uh, you wouldn't have unless you were to initially hit on your first bet, right? And sometimes if you place what I call correlated parlays, then you're hitting on a parlay, a leg that typically would happen if another leg hit, right? Or a trend that typically happens in, let's say if you're betting on the spread, right? A leg that would typically happen. All right. So, for example, let's talk about this one I have here. This was a playoff game here, and in Milwaukee at Chicago, right? First of all, I took the Bucks spread. In general, this season, the Bulls, even when healthy, have not been able to beat the Milwaukee Bucks, right? And a lot of people are probably starting to bet on the lines. I got favorable odds on this leg. A lot of people probably starting to bet on the lines and move the line because if you look here, right, you say, oh, Chris Middleton's out. He's hurt. The Bulls have a better shot to play. Well, if you go back to the game back in March, Chris Middleton was not playing, right? And when Chris Middleton was not playing, the Bucks still blew him out by like over 20 points, right? And so I felt confident in taking that. But in looking at that matchup, I saw that Giannis, not like a lot of people expect, oh, when this star goes out, this person's gonna overperform. Well, maybe it just depends on how they adjust their offense. Giannis was not the player who said, oh, I'm about to go get you 40 or 35 in that matchup, right? He actually had like 25 or 26 in March. And then this is the second game he played without Chris. Then he had bet on this game again previously. He had like 25, and just recently he had about 32, right? So, and a lot of times with star players, people think that, oh, they have to go for 30. Well, it just depends on how their offense changes, right? Drew Holiday is actually a good player to bet on the over, in my opinion, while Chris Middleton's out, while the odds are still favorable because he's gone over 20 each time since he's been out. But I took a safer bet here, and I'm going to explain why. I took Drew Holiday over 2.5 rebounds, right? And it's because I do what's called flat betting, right? So, and it just depends. Sometimes I flat bet a monetary amount. Sometimes I flat bet a percentage of my account, right? It's a little bit more risky to flat bet a percentage of your account because the argument could be made, well, it's a different amount, on each bet. It just depends if you're flat betting a 5% or 10%, right? So I kind of flat bet 10% here, feeling a little saucy. However, I always stick to a realistic probability, right? 3 legs, right? So some people you'll see on social media, 10 legs, 12 legs, 15 legs. Well, at the end of the day, what you don't realize is that the more legs that you have on your parlay, the less probable it is to hit, right? So, and I also look for a certain odds amount, right? So, for example, this is an example I use time in time out, and as the channel grows, maybe I'll say it less. But if you're watching the video for the first time, I want to make sure that you get it, right? If I go into the weekend saying I'm betting, I have $170 to bet on, right? Okay, and you hit, and you spread it across multiple parlays, right? So let's go 176. Let's even the numbers up. 175 divided by 30, right? That's about 5. Okay, so let's say if you say I got $175 to bet this weekend. If you place 5 parlays with the odds of around 400, right? If you hit on just one, you would have covered, right? If you hit on just one of those 5 parlays, you would have covered your costs for the weekend. And anything after that is bonus, right? So one of the goals for parlays is you want to have a certain odds, right? Your risk to reward ratio. So if you hit on one, it covers the rest, right? Basic math. Not keep in mind here. I'm rounding up here. I'm gonna round down here to 170, and I'm gonna round down the wager to 30, right? Just for even numbers here. 170 divided by 30 is 5.6. So you could place about 5 parlays if you have $175. But the key is to making sure they all have around the same odds, right? And you also want to keep the same probability as 3, right? So boom, you hit on one, you're good for the weekend, right? If you, that's part of the benefit of being part of a sports betting community, right? Is you can talk to different people about what they see in different games, right? Because some certain games you might not be able to catch, you might catch. Is not all based off the numbers, and the numbers are important too, right? And how you interpret those numbers. But one thing I want to say about this here is that that's your risk to reward ratio, right? Making sure you're always having a reward around. I shoot for over 300. Sometimes I'm a little lower in the 280. Sometimes I'm a little higher, about 400. But keep my reward high, and that's something I get from my background in day trading. I understand the risk to reward ratios, right? Okay, so these are some of the plays I sent over the weekend, and I hit on another one here. This is here's another one I hit on here, right? I bet on the game again. Like I said, understanding trends, right? This was a favorable odd, right? And you can see that they kind of started to catch on people kind of betting the under here, and they moved it down, right? But I still took the under on Giannis again, under 35.5. What I said about Drew Holiday, consistently over 20 since Chris Middleton's been out. Took the over on 7.5, right? Looking at the scoring rate of the Bucks in the trend on if they lead by halftime when they're playing the Bulls. Once again, 3 legs plus 360. If I hit on this one time, like I said, $30. If I hit on this one time, if I go in, let's do the math again. If I say in, go in saying, oh man, I have $130 to bet with, right? And okay, I want to spread that across parlays. Let's say I want to put in, let's say I want to go 4 parlays, right? Place 4 parlays. And if all 4 of your parlays are around 360 odds, if you hit this once, you've covered your betting costs. Anything else is now you're in a profit. You follow what I'm saying? I want y'all to see the trend. Okay, I'm showing y'all the trend. Boom. All right. Here's another one. Bam. Right. This one was a little bit lower here. 200. It's kind of bothering me to place it, but one of the things you want to do with betting, like I learned this about day trading, if it's not there, don't push it. I couldn't find an odds combination I felt comfortable with in this game, considering this matchup, to really give me what I wanted, right? However, I want to still have conviction in my bet, right? So I was looking at the trend here in this matchup, regular season and postseason, considering injuries and whatnot, in the emergence of Jordan Poole. Took the over here, over 11 points on Wiggins. Draymond Green even dropping this under is the importance of watching lines and betting on the same players. I've been watching this line here. And I took an L on about him having over 8.5 points one time. So I've been watching the odds that are offered. I said, okay, they dropped to 4.5, easy money. Boom, took that here. And then I took the over on Klay Thompson. Let me tell you why this was a good one. So a lot of people, Jordan Poole, he's going to get all the points. Jordan Poole, he can get all the points. If you're watching the game, though, the emergence of Jordan Poole is actually causing mismatches that favor Klay Thompson. Now you have smaller guards guarding Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson, people forget, he's 6'7", and he has a decent little, mid post game. You know what I'm saying? So he's posting up Denver's guards pretty much. You know what I'm saying? While the other ones are running around for Poole and Steph, or he's shooting clean over him. You're not going to put Aaron Gordon on him. You know what I mean? So you're not going to put Nikola Jokic on him. And when he does get that switch, he confidently has blown by them. So I felt comfortable with taking 3 picks for 200, right? My bad. Okay, so I'll talk about, that's kind of one I have later. That's when I head on to this is one I head on also this weekend here. But let's see here. I'll share one with y'all. Let's go with this one here. All right, so let's take a look at. I'm gonna switch screens with y'all for a second here. Let's come over to ESPN.com. All right. So if we go here to Toronto, bam, big news here. Hip issue, sidelines Raptors Van Fleet for Game 5. Man, look, this has a pretty big impact on the game. All right. So, Van Fleet hasn't been having a great series, but this is funny. I know nobody believes you can win this series. Yes, you're right. Nobody believes you can win the series. But if that's the beauty of betting on player props, right? Is understanding the impact of him being out. Okay, so in general, you want to do your research. You want to look at other games he's been out, right, and how the offense has looked without him. Okay, but after you've done that, you want to kind of take a look at. Here we go. You want to really take a look at the most recent game here, and he went out during this game, right? But you can tell it was bothering him during the game if you're watching the game, right? So pause this ad because this ad just be making noises for no reason. So if you look here, Pascal Siakam had damn near 20 attempts, all right? OG Anunoby had 13 attempts. Gary Trent had 20 attempts. Sometimes I don't always look at the points because players do have off shooting nights, but the shooting attempts tells me, the level of aggressiveness that they have. Same goes here for the minutes, 44 and 39, right? And you got to watch the bench players too, right? Because sometimes the starters may not have that many more minutes than the bench players, right? Like Scotty Barnes, obviously, rookie of the year, I believe, right? Or some award he got recently, but he had an off night, 1 of 6 for 6 points, right? I don't think that's going to happen again. Okay, 26 minutes. But I took a look here at Gary Trent, and I took a look here at Pascal Siakam. Okay, and if you come over here to the bet here, I took Gary Trent over 16.5, and I took Pascal Siakam over. So that's just rounded up because they try to trick you. I took Gary Trent over 17 and Pascal Siakam over 21. Okay, with Philly covering the spread. 1, Philly's at home. 2, they're without Van Fleet, who's a good player who also creates spacing for the team. All right. So if you do a little research, I'm just I do a lot more in-depth research than this. But just kind of give you an idea here moving forward, right? Some things you want to kind of look at, right? So on a career per 27 minutes, and this is on a career, right? So keep in mind this, he has gotten better, he's gotten more minutes. Gary Trent averages 13.5 points per 27 minutes, right? However, this season, right, the season that just passed, he averaged 18 points per 35 minutes, right? And we saw clearly in this matchup, he was going to get 1, starters in playoffs get more minutes, 2, Van Fleet's out, right? So he had 39 minutes here, 24 points, right? I feel comfortable, even though, like I said, they're on the road. I feel comfortable him getting 17 points, considering that they're facing elimination, and Van Fleet is out. Okay, so that covers Gary Trent. I'm gonna repeat that. Um, per 35 minutes, he's putting up 18.3 points, right, on 41% shooting and 38% from three. Okay, and if you look at Pascal Siakam, if you look at his stats, okay, let's go to NBA player. I like to go to NBA player reference. I like to go to sports reference. Let's see here. My bad. Excuse me, basketball reference. This season, he's averaging 22 points on 49% shooting. He's 74% from the free throw line. All right. So if you look at his field goal attempts per game, I like to kind of break it down to twos and threes, but we could just kind of look at in general attempts. He's averaging 17 attempts this season, right? He's averaging 14 from two, and he's averaging about 3 attempts from the 3-point line, right? Now keep in mind, minutes per game, that's at 37, okay? And I'm gonna repeat that, 17 field goal attempts per game. You look here, he on the most recent game in against the 76ers, he had 19, so 2 more attempts, right? And he played 44 minutes, right? He had 34 points. So I'm not trying to be greedy here, right? And say he's going to go for over 26, 27, 28. If you want to, if you feel confident, if you see something in the matchup, okay, that's fine. But my goal is around the same odds, right? For my risk to reward ratio and the numbers over time to work out for itself. And then I took the spread here by Philly winning by 5. Okay, definitely since they're at home. Right, so I got them two getting up a lot of shots to try to stay in contention, try to stay in the game. But I got Philly winning the game based off of trends. You see 40 here instead of a different amount because I cracked the new recent an account balance. And so I kind of want to scale up slow, right? Because like I said, my background is in day trading. One of the things you learn is to scale up slow so your mind can adjust to the amounts that you see, start making crazy decisions, right? You'd be surprised. But that's really it. That's really it for today. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Click the link to my website. Feel free to send me an email. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel grow. We're a growing sports betting community. So we'd love to have y'all. And peace out. Good luck betting.